Welcome back, guys. Today we are working on the neon, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's painted. You guys didn't see that. You see a little bit of work here and there because I didn't want to show body work over and over and over again. But here we are. So we come up here, guys. The color is a gorgeous color. There's not many issues with the paint at all. Maybe a couple pieces of dirt that I can wet sand and buff. So if you watch me, and if I did video some of it, I painted the car by itself, and then I painted the two doors, the hood, and the fenders, because my paint bay is not that big. So then I painted that, and then I painted the two rear doors, two bumpers, and all four side skirts another day. So that way, it all should match. I say that. Paint was bought from the same place. I marked down how many coats I put on it, so it would match no matter what. Well, if they mixed the paint right, it would match. So you will see, this is gorgeous, like that color pops. Now when I installed these doors, you can see it right here. This is a darker green, this is a lighter green. When I installed this door on the car, I messaged the paint guy and I was like, man, you mixed the paint wrong. I can guarantee this ain't the same color. The guy told me I was crazy. He's like, nah, I don't see it. You're perfectly fine. Go ahead. So I painted the rear of the car. So this is the first coat of paint. This would be the paint that they mixed the second time. And this is the paint they mixed the first time. Tell me that's the same. Like, that is disgusting. We have green. We have greenish yellow. We have dark green. We have pink. Whew. So here I am. Car that I just paid way too much money to paint. Took all the glass out, made sure there's no tape lines, that's why there's no trunk on it, to make it look OEM. I want it to look better than OEM. You will see that there's no tape lines, the rockers are nice, like there's no way to tell this car was painted because it was all done properly. I even painted inside all the doors. So enough complaining, I have to repaint. I gotta repaint the whole car because I don't know what paint code they messed up on. Did they mess up on the first one or the second one? I'm going to say they messed up on the second one because it's a darker green. This is Viper green. This is the color it should be. So I had two options. I can tape up the rear of the car, repaint the front and the bumpers, and hopefully it matches. Hopefully it matches. That's the key word. I'm not going to go for that. I'm just going to sand the whole car down. We're going to do that today, guys. Some 600. We're going to start prepping so we can repaint the full car. This time with the doors on, unfortunately. So the only downfall with repainting the car is I'm gonna have to tape it up in the door jamb. So I went and bought some foam tape, and it's just like a rope tape that would go in here and hopefully not give me a hard edge. You know, most people do that when they paint. I was just trying to make sure that you couldn't tell it was a paint, and unfortunately now I gotta do it anyways. So let's get some 600. Let's start sanding this down and getting it ready.
Place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race, every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream.
So the good thing about doing this, if you want to look at something that's, you know, why we're doing it, there's like a little piece of dirt. You can see how that little indent is. I'll be able to sand that out so that dirt won't be there. And the next good thing is I had a run right there, which I would have just sanded and buffed, but now I can just block it smooth and not worry about buffing. I hate buffing, so that's why you'll see all these edges here. See how it's still shiny around the edges? Shiny. Now I bought sanding paste, and if you're not familiar with bodywork, you can take, they make a paste, and then you can take a gold Scotch-Brite pad or a gray Scotch-Brite pad, depending on the color of the car, and you can put some paste, and you wash the car, and you put the paste on it, on your Scotch-Brite pad, and you would scratch the edges with that, and it stops you from breaking through on edges. It helps a lot for blending. So we're gonna do that to all the edges of this car.
All alone, that's okay. People like it standing, they don't want me to change. Keep me where I'm standing, and I don't wanna be where I am. And I want something more, take a chance. It could be.
So I'm being extra careful. So if you look, you'll see that I broke through the first layer of clear, and then the run's gone now, but I wanted to make sure I didn't break through the metal because then if I broke through metal there and I sprayed just a base over it, you would see like an outline of the paint where the bare metal was. I'm not looking to seal this car or prime it or anything stupid along those lines. I'm looking just to scuff it all down, probably 2 coats of base, just enough that the color should be uniform, so it's the same all the way around the whole entire car, and be done with it. This is 7 coats of base on this car because it was like a see-through paint. If I don't break through anywhere, I should get away with 2 to 3 coats, done. It all look the same, other than that front, hopefully it does. So yeah, let's just get on with it. Okay, so what you'll see us doing right now is you've seen that I sanded the whole car with 800 and a foam backing pad, which is technically like, foam backing pad adds like 100 grit, so it should have been like almost like a 900. So I was trying not to break through my edges because the car was freshly painted. I don't want to deal with it reacting. So here we are. So what we're doing now, as you'll see, is Chris is taking some sanding paste, and I'm doing this in the paint bay, so it's probably not a bad idea, but it is a bad idea. Well, I do everything in my paint bay anyways, let's face it. But the reason I say it's probably a bad idea, because obviously it's going to put paste on the ground and it can turn into obviously like dust. So, but the floor is going to be wet tomorrow, and I'm soaking the floor now as I'm doing it. And you'll see that literally all we're doing is taking the sanding paste and we're going over the whole panel. So what we're doing is, this is not what I'm using, but you take a gray Scotch-Brite pad and we're just going against the edges. And a lot of people use sanding paste for blends. So I'm just doing this so we're not pushing. The paste makes it a lot easier to do this. Did you get right underneath that fender too? Not quite. Well, you're gonna have to. So this is basically, the paste is doing a lot of the work. And technically, if you want to get technical, and I'm gonna say this, is most people that watch this don't do body work anyway, so they wouldn't know the difference. But technically, if we were doing this, we probably should use a gold Scotch-Brite pad. So a gold Scotch-Brite pad is a little finer. It's not gonna dig in as much. And the sanding paste is usually used for blending. So by blending a door, you'd sand paste, you know, the spots that you're gonna blend. That way you're not digging into it. I'm doing it as an extra precaution, just to make sure that I get all the spots that were shiny that I can't get with my sander. So it's just an extra precaution. So we're doing that. We're getting the car wet, which I'm showing you guys. And then when it's done, we're gonna wash the car in this bay as well. And then we're just gonna use some Dawn dish soap. We'll wet it all down and get rid of hopefully any residue. So you'll see that it is drying, and if Chris looks too, you will see that that's wet, so it's still a bit shiny, but you see how it's going away and there's no shiny spots? That's what the sanding paste does. Okay, so now that the whole car has been sanded paste, I just got some soap and water. I'm actually using car soap. Dawn dish soap's the best, but I have Palmolive, so I don't know if that's a good thing to use. And quite frankly, my luck, it wouldn't be. So I stick to what I know. Now all I'm gonna do now is basically I wanna just make sure there's no more residue on the car. Any residue is not a good thing that we want. And it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. You got the car clean. There's gonna be less dust in here because the floors are gonna be soaked. So basically we're just gonna do that. Here it is, it's now ready to spray. I'm gonna let it dry, come back tomorrow, later in the video. We're gonna wax and grease remove the whole car, just to make sure there's no residue left behind. And plus you want to do that before paint anyways. And then we're gonna tape up the full car. So I'm gonna wax and grease remove it before I tape it up, because I can wax and grease remove it afterwards too, just to make sure I play it safe. Now, the bad thing about this, and I always say it, is my window is right here. My fan is there. So it's gonna pull air from here straight across. So when I did it in panels, obviously I had stuff over here, had stuff over there. There was less chance of getting dirt in it. So now that window is technically right dab right here. So I have a very high possibility of getting dirt in this section of the car. If it's in the clear, it's not bad. Most times you can just wet sand and buff it. If the dirt is in the base, which means dirt flew in and then I based over it, you're never gonna get it out because obviously it's layered down below. That is why you see the car shoved farther this way to try to help that situation. I might even put the front end more over, I think. That might be actually a good idea. If I bring the front end a little farther over this way, It gives me a little tighter here, but I still have tons of room to walk around. Now, obviously tomorrow I'll probably end up taking that right out and probably hanging this. I'm up in the air, but floor is wet from me washing the car in here, me and Chris. And well, I can just let it dry now, and then tomorrow's a new day and just start taping it up and getting it ready to paint. So we'll do a camera trick, guys, and we'll be right back. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're literally gonna mix all the paint that we have together into that bucket. So what I'm trying to eliminate is if there's any type of variance in this paint, that we're not gonna have the same issue since, well, the people that mix it can't mix it properly. Now, I honestly don't know if this is the proper way to do that, because I don't know if these chemicals in this would react with that. So we are gonna mix it as quick as possible and then pour them in the 2-gallon containers that we have. Cool little camera trick. Unfortunately, I still did all the work. So we're ready to spray the neon for the second time. I even hate saying that, but I know things are gonna go wrong because, well, they always do, and I hate painting. So here we are. I'm gonna end up wiping this down one more time. So it looks a little streaky here. I did run into issues like always. So you see the front has this blue 3M trim tape, and the back doesn't. Well, I ran out, and while the back molding was no good, I just cut it out of the way. I'm not waiting. $60 a roll. It's not the price, it's more the fact they don't have it here. So I literally just cut it all out of the way, so because it has to be changed anyways. So the car is ready to go. There's a couple spots that Chris broke through, or I broke through, so there. And I think it's just a couple edges. So my plan is, I think there was a spot there. So my plan is I'm gonna just put a dusting on all the spots that were broken through. That way it doesn't react. Hopefully it doesn't react. This paint was painted a week ago. Some of it was, at least, like the back part was. And it could react. I don't want to lay sealer down because there's no need to. I want to get away with putting 2 to 3 coats of base on this, just so it's all the same green. Better be all the same green. And be done with it. So I'll put a couple light dustings on the spots that were broke through just to cover it up. Less chance of it reacting when just dusting it on. And then what I plan on doing is just nailing it right down to it, and away we go. So let's give this a quick wipe. And then I need to put the filter in my window so no dust comes in. And then it's a tack cloth and some base time. So you can see that I'm just dusting the spots that broke through so we don't get any reaction.
Cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of.
Okay guys, it's done, finally. It's still wet. I put 3 coats of clear on it so I could buff it. So thank God, because we have a passenger. A mosquito in March in my fender. Thank God I can block it. It actually laid really nice. I don't see much of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Tiger stripes. Cause I did a half a coat going the opposite way to make sure. So, all one color. Now as long as the fenders and stuff match, we're good to go, which obviously they're gonna match, so. We're gonna leave it at that, guys. Next video, we're gonna get the bumpers ready to go, side skirts, door handles, get this dropped down, and get this out of the freaking garage, because we're back on the Civic as well, so those videos are coming shortly, so that's gonna get ready and get done. Both these need to get tuned, probably very close to each other, because, well, we're gonna go to Moncton with them, so that's like a 2.5 hour drive. So, thanks a lot, guys. New channel, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and we'll definitely catch you on the next.